Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Boy, oh boy, is it an unbelievable news day today. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. Thank you so much for being a viewer. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. This right here is some information about me. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and I have the fortune, the honor, the privilege of living the American dream. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about your money. By now, you've probably heard about this phone call between the president and Georgia state officials, which was actually recorded in secret by these Georgia state officials. And you've probably heard the phone call by now because many news channels have already covered it. But I'm going to give you some behind the scenes information about why the call was recorded, reactions from other individuals who were actually on the call. Just some unbelievable information as we get into the news cycle today. Let's start with this article on your screen from Politico, which says MAGA marchers, Make America Great Again marchers, plot final DC stand on the 6th of January. This is going to be a very eventful week. There have been many failed lawsuits and investigations from the president's side, but president's supporters are traveling to DC in a bid to convince Congress to overturn the election. Just an incredible day and age that we live in right now. Here's an article on your screen from Politico that talks about the backstory of the president's phone call, and President Trump was secretly recorded as he was trying to pressure Georgia state officials. He specifically spoke with the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, who we are going to hear from right now, to throw out votes and find votes that could potentially help overturn the results in Georgia. So here's some reporting from Politico. It started on Saturday when the president and his team reached out to speak with Raffensperger. It seems there were 18 attempts from the White House switchboard to try and reach Georgia state officials. And Raffensperger actually felt it was inappropriate to speak with the president giving ongoing litigation. And he said so himself. We're about to take a look at an interview with Raffensperger on Good Morning America, where he said he felt it was unethical to speak with the president given the fact that there was ongoing litigation. And he believed that the president was believing in conspiracy theories. He said the president said there were hundreds of dead people voting, and Raffensperger said that they found two. So you can see right there's a disconnect between what the president believes and what Raffensperger is saying. So Raffensperger believed he would be unethically pressured by the president. And in November, Raffensperger had accused President Trump and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham of improperly pressuring him to meddle in the election. And we know that Senator Lindsey Graham denied it. So why not record the call? That's what Raffensperger's advisors thought. And this is a quote from one of the Raffensperger advisors to Playbook. This is a man who has a history of reinventing history as it occurs. So if he's going to try to dispute anything on the call, it's nice to have something like this hard evidence to dispute what he's claiming about the secretary. Lindsey Graham asked us to throw out legally cast ballots. So yeah, after that call, we decided maybe we should do this. Wow. And so the call took place on Saturday afternoon. Again, that call has been widely reported by now. And at the end of the call, President Trump complained, "What a schmuck I was." Now, the entire recording of the phone call is available online, so you can listen to it. And Raffensperger's team basically, they stayed silent after the call and they waited. The president then said on Sunday morning that Raffensperger was unwilling or unable to answer questions about about the president's claims of voter fraud. Respectfully, President Trump, what you're saying is not true. And that's what Raffensperger said at 10:27 a.m. The truth will come out. And then, the truth came out. And when that phone call was released, it was quite interesting, to say the least. Now, the big question is this going to affect the Georgia Senate runoff races that take place tomorrow, Tuesday, the 5th of January? Here's another article on your screen from Politico, where Raffensperger says that the president could face an investigation over the election phone call, and many legal experts and lawmakers have indeed expressed alarm at the nature of the president's conversation with the Georgia Secretary of State. Now, as you might expect, the Republican incumbent Senator David Perdue in Georgia, who's up for re-election tomorrow because he's going to be facing his challenger, Jon Ossoff, in the challenge tomorrow for this Senate seat in Georgia. There are actually two Senate seats that are up for re-election in Georgia. Kelly Loeffler and Reverend Raphael Warnock are squaring off in the other seat. Here's an article on your screen from Politico where David Perdue said it was disgusting that the Georgia Secretary of State essentially recorded President Trump's phone call, and he downplayed the significance of this call, David Perdue. He said, and I quote, "I guess I was raised differently," he said on Fox News. To have a statewide elected official, regardless of party, tape without disclosing a private conversation with the President of the United States and then leaking it to the press is disgusting. Let me know in the comment section below whether you agree with David Perdue's position or you believe that we as citizens deserve to hear what the President of the United States was saying to an election official in the midst of a highly divisive election. And here's another article also on your screen from Politico. Trump's pressure on Georgia election officials raises legal questions. The president did actually urge officials he asked for help to reverse the election loss. Now, in the call, the president says, and I'm quoting the president, "We have won the election in Georgia based on all of this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad." And he said the people of Georgia are angry, the people in the country are angry, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated. The president also accused the Georgia election officials of knowing about election interference, but not reporting it. He said that's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. In fact, why don't we listen to some aspects of this phone call right now? And after that, I'll show you the response from the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and his reaction to the call. But let's listen to some important segments of the call, specifically the segments that created so much controversy that a lot of news channels are talking about. Let's listen now. And again, this is courtesy of Politico. We'll include a link to all our resources in the description section below. Let's listen.
I won this election by hundreds of thousands of votes. There's no way I lost Georgia. There's no way. We won by hundreds of thousands of votes. I'm just going by small numbers. When you add them up, they're many times the 11,000. But I won that state by hundreds of thousands of votes. Now, do you think it's possible that they shredded ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. And also that Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal.
This is Ryan, Germany. No, Dominion has not moved any machinery out of Fulton County. We're having
but have they moved? Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts? We hear they're shredding thousands and thousands of ballots, and now what they're saying, oh, we're just cleaning up the office. I don't think that plays.
Mr. President, the problem you have with social media, people can say anything.
No, this isn't social media. This is Trump media. It's not social media. It's really not. It's not social media. I don't care about social. I couldn't care less. Social media is big tech. Big tech is on your side. I don't even know why you have a side, because you should want to have an accurate election. So you send us into Cobb County for signature verification, right? You send us into Cobb County, which we didn't want to go into. And you said it would be open to the public, and we could have so we had our experts there. They weren't allowed into the room. But we didn't want Cobb County. We wanted Fulton County, and you wouldn't give it to us. Now, why aren't we doing signature, and why can't it be open to the public, and why can't we have professionals do it instead of rank amateurs that will never find anything and don't want to find anything? They don't want to find, they don't want to find anything. Someday you'll tell me the reason why, because I don't understand your reasoning. But someday you'll tell me the reason why. But why don't you want to find?
We chose Cobb County.
Why don't you want to find? So why did you do Cobb County? We didn't even request. We requested Fulton County, not Cobb County.
We chose Cobb County because that was the only county where there's been any evidence submitted that the signature verification was not properly done.
Well, no, but I told you. But we're not saying that. We are the aggrieved. We're the aggrieved party. Fulton County. Look. Stacey, in my opinion, Stacey is as dishonest as they come. She has outplayed you at every heart, at everything. She got you to sign a totally unconstitutional agreement, which is a disastrous agreement. You can't check signatures. You can't do. I can't imagine you're allowed to do harvesting, I guess, in that agreement. That agreement is a disaster for this country. But she got you somehow to sign that thing. And she's outsmarted you at every step. And I hate to imagine what's going to happen on Monday or Tuesday, but it's very scary to people, where the ballots flow in out of nowhere. It's very scary to people. That consent decree is a disaster. It's a disaster. A very good lawyer who examined it said they've never seen anything like it. Here's the problem. We can go through signature verification and we'll find hundreds of thousands of signatures if you let us do it. And the only way you can do it, as you know, is to go to the past. But you didn't do that in Cobb County. You just looked at one page compared to another. The only way you can do a signature verification is go from the one that signed it on November whatever, recently, and compare it to 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, or even one. And you'll find that you have many different signatures. But in Fulton, where they dumped ballots, you will find that you have many that aren't even signed, and you have many that are forgeries. Okay? You know that. You know that. You have no doubt about that. And you will be at 11,779 within minutes, because Fulton County is totally corrupt, and so is she totally corrupt. They're going around playing you and laughing at you behind your back, Brad. Whether you know it or not, they're laughing at you. And you've taken a state that's a Republican state, and you've made it almost impossible for a Republican to win because of cheating, because they cheated like nobody's ever cheated before. A little information. I think you're going to find that they are shredding ballots because they have to get rid of the ballots, because the ballots are unsigned, the ballots are corrupt, and they're brand new, and they don't have seals, and there's a whole thing with the ballots, but the ballots are corrupt, and you're going to find that they are, which is totally illegal. It's more illegal for you than it is for them, because you know what they did and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense. And you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard, and they are removing machinery, and they're moving it as fast as they can, both of which are criminal fines, and you can't let it happen, and you are letting it happen. I'm notifying you that you're letting it happen. We need only 11,000 votes. We have far more than that as it stands now. We'll have more and more. And do you have provisional ballots at all, Brad? Provisional ballots?
Provisional ballots are allowed, by state law.
Sure. But do you have them? I mean, are they counted, or did you just hold them back because they, in other words, how many provisional ballots do you have in the state?
We'll get you that number.
Because most of them are made out to the name Trump, because these are people that were scammed when they came in, and we have thousands of people that have testified or that want to testify. When they came in, they were proudly going to vote on November 3rd, and they were told, I'm sorry, you've already been voted for, you've already voted. The women, men started screaming, no, I proudly voted till November 3rd. They said, I'm sorry, but you already been voted for, and you have a ballot. And these people are beside themselves. So they went out and they filled in a provisional ballot, putting the name Trump on it. And what about that batch of military ballots that came in, and even though I won the military by a lot, it was 100% Trump. 100% Biden. Do you know about that? A large group of ballots came in, I think it was to Fulton County, and they just happened to be 100% for Trump, for Biden, even though Trump won the military by a lot, a tremendous amount. But these ballots were 100% for Biden. And you know about that? A very substantial number came in, all for Biden. Does anybody know about it?
I know about it, but we were never.
Okay, Cleta, wait. I'm not asking you, Cleta, honestly. I'm asking Brad. Do you know about the military ballots that we have confirmed now? Do you know about the military ballots that came in that were 100%? 100% for Biden. Do you know about that?
I don't know about that. I do know that we have, when military ballots come in, it's not just military. It's also military and overseas citizens. The military part of that does generally go Republican. The overseas citizen part of it generally goes very Democrat.
No, but this was
a mix of them.
Yeah, that's okay. But I got like 78% in the military. These ballots were all for this. They didn't tell me overseas. Could be overseas too, but I get votes overseas too, Ryan. You know, in all fairness. No, they came in, a large batch came in, and it was, quote, 100% for Biden. And that is criminal. You know, that's criminal. Okay, that's another criminal. That's another of the many criminal events. Many criminal events here. I have to find 12,000 votes, and I have them times a lot, and therefore I won the state. That's before we go to the next step, which is in the process of right now. You know, and I watched you this morning, and you said, well, there was no criminality, but I mean, all of this stuff is very dangerous stuff. When you talk about no criminality, I think it's very dangerous for you to say that. I just don't know why you don't want to have the votes counted as they are. Like even you, when you went and did that check, and I was surprised because, you know, I didn't consider the check, and we found a few thousand votes that were against me. I was actually surprised because the way that check was done, all you're doing is recertifying existing votes. And, you know, you were given votes and you just counted them up. And you still found 3,000 that were bad. That was sort of surprising. That came down 3 or 5, I don't know, a lot, you know, still a lot of votes. But you have to go back to check from past years with respect to signatures. And if you check with Fulton County, you'll have hundreds of thousands because they dumped ballots into Fulton County and the other county next to it. So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. You know, we have that in spades already, or we can keep it going. But that's not fair to the voters of Georgia because they're going to see what happens.
There's been very, very swift criticism from Democrats. Jerry Nadler from New York, chair of the House Judiciary Committee and one of the 7 House Democrats who prosecuted President Trump's impeachment, said, in threatening these officials with vague criminal consequences and in encouraging them to find additional votes and hire investigators who want to find answers, the president may have subjected himself to additional criminal liability. There were also comments from other Democrats that were highly critical of the president, as you might expect. Now, in the audio, President Trump asked Raffensperger and his counsel, Ryan Germany, to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have because we won the state. That is a quote from the president. He said, we won the election and it's not fair to take it away from us like this, and it's going to be very costly in many ways. And I think you have to say that you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it, but re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers. Very interesting choice of words from the president. Let me know what you think. And in the call, President Trump did actually contradict his own attorneys at different points in the conversation. And the president said, and I quote, "There's no way I lost Georgia. There's no way." And that's what the president said at one point during the call. So what does Brad Raffensperger have to say about all this? Let's listen now to an interview between Brad Raffensperger and a host on Good Morning America, where Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said that President Trump continues to believe what he calls conspiracy theories about the election loss and the fact that he felt it was inappropriate to speak with the president. Let's roll the tape. Let's listen to the Georgia Secretary of State who's in the middle of this entire crisis, Brad Raffensperger.
Let's bring in the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Secretary Raffensperger, thank you for joining us again this morning. If I hadn't heard that tape with my own ears, I couldn't believe that a president of the United States would be doing that to a top election official in your state. What were you thinking and feeling during that hour?
George, for the last 2 months, we've been fighting the rumor whack-a-mole. And it was pretty obvious very early on that we've debunked every one of those theories that have been out there, but the President Trump continues to believe them. We debunked the one about, through State Farm Arena. We debunked that with WSB here in Atlanta. Ware County, they reported 26% difference. It was actually 0.26%. So we've continued to debunk this. We believe that truth matters. We continue to fight to get our message out, but it's fighting the rumor whack-a-mole daily.
Did you feel the pressure when he said, find the votes?
No, we have to follow the process, follow the law. Everything we've done for the last 12 months follows the Constitution of the state of Georgia, follows the United States Constitution, follows state law. We were having to, adapt to a pandemic, and that did pose challenges. One team, the Democrat Party, really jumped on the absentee ballot program. We didn't have to change any state laws. for them to do that, but they just grasped onto an existing state law with no excuse absentee voting, which is actually supported by our current state party chairman when he was a state senator. He supported and voted for it. It's not something I supported, but it's no excuse absentee voting. We stood up an online portal with photo ID for people to get their absentee ballots. We did signature match.
The New York Times reports that there were 18 other calls since the election from the White House switchboard to your office. Had you spoken to the president before yesterday? If not, what were those calls about?
No, I never believed it was appropriate to speak to the president, but he pushed out. I guess he had his staff push us, and they wanted to call. The challenge that we have, first of all, we're in a litigation mode with the president's team against the state of Georgia. And whenever you say anything, then you do have to have your advisors there. They have to have their advisors there with lawyers. And so I just preferred not to talk to someone when we're in litigation. We let the lawyers handle it. But we took the call and we had a conversation. He did most of the talking. We did most of the listening. But I did want to make my points that the data that he has is just plain wrong. He had hundreds and hundreds of people he said that were dead that voted. We found 2. That's an example of he has bad data.
David Worley, a Democratic member of the state election board, which you chair, has asked you to open an investigation into the call. Will you open that investigation?
I believe that because I had a conversation with the president. Also, he had a conversation with our chief investigator after we did the signature match audit of Cobb County last week. There may be a conflict of interest. I understand that the Fulton County District Attorney wants to look at it. Maybe that's the appropriate venue for it to go.
You're an election official. Did you consider it a lawful request when the president asked you to find the votes?
I'm not a lawyer. All I know is that we're going to follow the law, follow the process. Truth matters. And we've been fighting these rumors for the last 2 months.
You've said you voted for the president, wanted him to win. Knowing what you know now, would you vote for him again?
I support Republicans. I always have. I probably always will.
So you'd vote for him again?
Well, President Trump is not on the ballot in 2024 right now, so we'll just have to wait and see what would happen.
Secretary Raffensperger, thanks for your time this morning.
That's it, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. You'll get a link to all of our resources in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. I really, really, really appreciate you. I work hard on this channel to bring you the latest news, to bring you the most current news, and to bring you news that's going to help you understand the way the country works, the way the economy is changing, and most importantly, how it impacts your money. Again, my name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. This right here is some information about me. Click on that little exclamation mark on the top right hand side of the video so you can learn a little bit more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I want us to be calm. I want us to be peaceful. I know the $600 that we've got isn't making any of us celebrate, right? See, I don't think you're celebrating for $600, but let's be clear. What's happening in the country is important for us to understand because I think things are changing in real time. We are in a very fluid political environment. We are in a very fluid economy, and I want to help you make sense of it. Remember, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. If you want to get on our SMS alerts list, simply get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or the word time. Send that in a text message to the number 70000 and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list moving forward. You can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you'll get added to our email list going forward. You can opt out of the SMS list or the email list at any point in time going forward. Stay in touch with us by getting on our SMS or email list. Now, you can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. Now, YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all you need to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you'll be able to visit the home page of our channel. And then you'll be able to check out our videos at any point in time that you want. We have many playlists on our channel. We have a playlist on politics. We have a playlist on announcements from the administration. We have a playlist on economic recovery alerts. We have a playlist on stimulus proposals, a playlist on unemployment benefits, a playlist on financial freedom, and also managing your money, not to mention new career opportunities. So make sure you check out all of those playlists because there's a wealth of information available to you on the Ignition Time channel. Now, one thing we always do is that we include the link to all of our resources in the description section below. So check out the description section below to get a link to all of our resources. If you learned something new from our video, please comment below, participate and engage with our community. And also keep in mind that all I ask from you is you please click the like button, please ignite the like button, please ignite the subscribe button because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. A like from you would mean a lot to me. I would really appreciate it. I'll show you I'll dance again if I have to just so that I can earn that like. There you go. I'll dance if I have to earn the like. All I ask is that you please click the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, please share this video with just 2 friends or family members, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time.